Hi, I'm Teresa Arsenault,
And I'm Terry Arsenault.
and we're TNT Artspirations. Welcome to our studio tour. First, you'll see some of my planning boards. And over here is mainly where we have some of our for sale products. So this is where we have most of our for sale products, other than our paintings that are upstairs on the wall. So I've got a few fridge magnets here. I've got a couple copies of my novel, Bee Singer Queen. And these are waiting for pickup after the COVID lockdown is done, of course. And just a mixed media box here that's for sale. On the second shelf, I've got not copies, but I've got original paintings. And there's one of them. There's one of my original watercolors. Let's put that back. We have some prints there. We have some mixed media bookmarks. In the bottom shelf here, I've got some of my journals that I make. I make a mini and I make a large one. On the fourth shelf, have some of Terry's ornaments that he makes. Live edge ashwood ornaments. He calls them beauty from ash because the ash was collected from trees uprooted from Hurricane Dorian in September of 2019. Down the bottom is just some storage bins. So this is our next shelf unit where we store a lot of things. Down the bottom shelf, there's all kinds of binders and paper and binder dividers. This is for organizing mostly the stuff that I write. We've got some cereal boxes down here. I break these down to make my journal covers. They're from recycled box board. And up here, got the cash box, have another mixed media box that I'm working on. Business cards. These are what would you call those, Terry?
Frames.
Frame pieces and canvas for making stretch canvas. On the next shelf, I've got my watercolor paper for making my journals, the pages in my journals. A couple journals here. Binder rings, again that's for the journals. I've got some papers cut out, pages for the journals, and some covers that have been made. They're ready to be assembled. I also use these box board pieces. Sanders for sanding the journal covers, the cereal boxes. Up here, this is the second shelf from the top. I've got a bunch of magnetic canvases that I've prepared. I'm going to paint paintings on there, acrylic paintings for tourists. Just these are mats for finished paintings, stretch canvas, and other substrates for painting. We've got a few paintings that are in process here. On the top shelf, I've got a lot of art journals and materials for making art journals. And finally, over here, this is my Tales of El Moria series index. This is where I do my planning for my novel series. And if you're interested in finding out how I do my series index, it's also called the Series Bible, we have another video where you can see that. This is my desk. This is where I do a lot of my work. I have my computer right here. So I do my writing, and I'll do watercolor a lot of times at the desk here, and a lot of my crafting. Just back up here, I've got a couple file drawers. This is where I keep a lot of my papers. And these are our business files that we've got in this drawer here. Something you might be interested in, I know it's always hard to figure out storage for things like stickers that you have so many of. So what I did is I took a cardboard box and taped it up really well. And then I did a collage of patterned papers on there that I liked. At the top, I did duct tape just to reinforce it and make it good and strong. And then I put these file folders right in here. And I use cardstock to do labels for them. So I've got my alpha stickers here, animal stickers, birthday stickers, and so on. So I've got everything but my 3D and rhinestone stickers is all in this little bin right here, and it's alphabetized and labeled so I can pull them out pretty fast. So that's pretty nifty. My real workhorse over here is my pegboard. So first I have a calendar so I can keep track of the days and birthdays and things like that. And I've got my scissors all here, my little tweezers. I've got a little bin here for tapes and glue dots, glue sticks. I have another basket that's hanging there for other types of glue. I've got some of my scissors. I don't use these very often, but now and again they come in handy. These are the fancy scissors that give you different edges. And then I like to put a few things on here just because they look nice and I find them inspiring. This basket usually has my tape runner refills. Right now this is all I've got in it because I'm waiting for another order. So up here I've got my circle thingy, whatever you call that, post-it notes, and a few more decorative things just because it makes me feel nice. And finally over here I've got my metal dies. So what I did here is I got the magnet strips that have the peel off back so they stick, they're self-sticking. So I just stuck them on the board, and now I can get all my nesting dies and I can just stick them right on there, and they're right there whenever I need them. I don't have to fish through a drawer to see what I've got. I can see it right away, and I find that really cool. So I wanted you to see that this is a working studio. It's not just for show, so I left my mess out here. This is some of the stuff I'm working on, and that's the advantage of having a home studio and not just having to work at your kitchen table where you have to tuck everything away all the time. So we're really blessed to have this space. I'm going to show you my back wall here. So over here on some of these shelves, we've got spray paints, we've got house paints, we've got Varathane, and paint brushes up here, my watercolor paint brushes. Then I've just got some decorative stuff because I find having pretty things around inspires me. So you need to find something that inspires you. These flowers I could tuck away and put them with my other flowers, but I just like the look of them, so I leave them out. So I find that's important to have pretty things, and I love birds. I love this little bird cage. Just makes me feel good. So here I've got papers and laminating pouches and labels. My scoreboard. I use this for lots of stuff, especially making cards. So that's good to have. Tucked right there. Over to this shelf. On the very top, I've got bubble wrap and different things for packaging. Just tucked way up there because, you know, we don't have to get at it every day. And buttons, sketching, some pencils and things. This thing I think you might like to see. So if you want to come in a little bit closer, I'll show you. This is my card storage. So the first thing I have here is I have index cards with the months of the year, and I've got my close friends and family's birthdays all listed on these, so I never have to miss a birthday. Then I've got labels for different kinds of cards: anniversary, birthday, encouragement, get well, just all the different kinds. And here I keep my cards that are either in process or they're ready to go. So like I've got one here, birthday card that's ready to, I'm not going to show you the address, it's ready to be mailed out whenever it's time. I put on my computer, I put a reminder and tell me when I have to mail that out, so I can make cards ahead of time. See, here's a bunch of cards that are all ready to go. I like to make them ahead of time so I'm not caught off guard when I need a card. So let's put this back. A neighbor gave me a whole whack of envelopes, so in this box I've got huge envelopes that I've got all different sizes, so that's fantastic. I've got some markers here. I've got my cutting mat and mouse pad. Here I've got my stuff for my Big Shot machine. So I've got all kinds of dies, cutting boards, embossing folders. And that's it for this wall. Then over here I just have some more nice things. I've got pictures of my kids, my husband. Oh, I gotta show you this. This is his Miami Vice suit that he had, that he wore on our honeymoon. Look at him. Isn't he gorgeous? Mwah. And just, I've got my desk mask here. Mostly this is just nice stuff that I like to have around me. I feel it's inspiring. So now we're going to go down to our shelves, and I'll have to pull out a few things for you. This is my real workhorse right here. A Fiskars guillotine cutter. It's self-sharpening. My son got that for me years ago, and I absolutely love it. I can cut box board with this. I can cut any kind of paper or, you know, even some fabrics. It's fantastic. I love it. Then I've got my Big Shot machine. This heavy duty hole punch. Okay, down the bottom here, I've got my laminator. And this is just some bins that I got from the dollar store for glitter and embossing powders. Over to this next shelf. For my birthday, I got this beautiful new blow dryer that has a cool setting, and it's got a nice little attachment for doing Dutch pour painting. So haven't used it yet. I'm looking forward to it. Right now it's nice and shiny new. It's probably going to get all full of paint. So down here I have my stamps. And I know this isn't the greatest storage. I'd like to do something better for the stamp storage, but right now it is what it is. So I don't have anything better right now, so I've just got them in bins that I got at Walmart, clear stamps and wood stamps. Over here I've got some more Walmart bins, ribbon, tapes, and trims and embroidery thread. And that's it for this side of the studio. Well, except for a few, like I like to use these things. I think I got them from a yard sale or something. They're plastic and they're really great for using when I'm gluing and stuff, and just collage work is really good on that. And that's it for this part. So here's another area just to the left of my workbench, and I've got a power bar here so I can plug in blow dryers. Right now the blow dryer is on. I can plug in my glue gun or whatever else I need. Then I've got a little storage bin here, papers for collage, napkins for collage, 3D stickers, digis. Those are digital images that I've cut out, some colored. The next storage bin, I've got my watercolor bucket and some watercolor palettes here. So this is basically where I have my watercolor stuff. So my watercolor paints are here. I've got my Hydrus paints. I've got Brush-Os in here, watercolor scraps. Here I've got watercolor pencils and crayons. I've got these brush pens. Then I've got regular markers and pens in this drawer. And it sits on top of another little unit, plastic drawer unit. So in here I've got my watercolor paper that I use just for my own, for paintings, and I use them also for bookmarks. And then I've got, well right now my palettes are in another spot, but the palettes go there. I've got wax paper, I've got baking sheet, aluminum foil, plastic wrap, all in there for doing different techniques. And then I've just got some extra things in here like pens and rulers, stuff like that. Might as well start at the bottom shelf. This cart was given to us by a neighbor, and we just cleaned it up and spray painted it. It's on wheels. It's really a workhorse. It's very heavy duty. So on the bottom shelf are canvases that will not fit anyplace else because they're quite large. I got these bins at Walmart just after Christmas, and they're for holding Christmas ornaments actually, but they're great because they have, here, open up one of them. They've got all these wee dividers, and you can use them however you like. So you can make whatever size little areas that you want. So I've got beads and charms and just beading supplies in here. This one is the same thing, but it holds a lot of my die cuts. So I've got some nice die cuts in here. I've got my wooden ones, and I'm able to organize them all, which is really nice. So that's fantastic. And then I've got a bin where I put all my punches. I don't have a whole lot of punches, but the ones I have, I use. So, you know, maybe you don't need to have a lot. On the second shelf here, I've got a bin with my Glimmer Mist sprays and my alcohol inks. I've got them all in here in this bin. The next three bins are all acrylic craft paints. So the ones that are in the bottles. So I've separated them by color. So I've got my browns, white, blacks, metallics in here. I've got my primaries in here and my secondaries in the last bin. So this is the top shelf of that rolling green cart. It looks like a mess, but it's actually an organized mess. So in this bin bucket here, I've got some, what do you call them, drop cloths. And in this basket, there's also some drop cloths, there's aprons, there's rags. Then we've got our vinyl gloves, which come in handy really a lot these days besides just for artwork. And I've got some extra buckets here, another water bucket. It's for acrylic painting, paper towels. I really like washing the meat trays and using those as pallets for acrylic paint because I can just toss them in the trash afterwards. So these end up getting 2 uses before they get to the trash. So that's pretty cool. This is Terry's paintbrushes that he's got and he left out. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. And here are our acrylic tube paints. So these ones, if we're working on a canvas or something that is a little bit more serious of an art project, then we don't want to use craft paints. We want to use something a little better. So we have the tube paints, so we keep these separate from the craft paints. Then I've got stuff for paint pouring. So this looks like a lot of junk, but it's actually for doing paint pouring and different kinds of paint techniques. Yeah, I've got a turntable here, some more paper towels, pouring medium. So all this stuff is for paint pouring, including what's in this bin. Okay, so this is just a couple things at the end of the cart here. I've got another little Walmart bin for my flowers. And I've got a 12 by 12 paper bin from Michaels where I've got all my stencils, or almost all of them. So they're all just, they're not that organized, but they're organized as far as I know where to find my stencils. Okay, so this is the other side of that green cart. I've used, this is a vase I found at a thrift shop or something. I love the look of it. It's so rustic that I thought it was great for my palette knives and big paint brushes. And some more brushes here. Another little mason jar with brushes. Mason jars are great for holding paint brushes. And then I've got a bin that I just recycled from some potato salad. And I've got all my sponge brushes in there. This is more paint pouring stuff, bottles, jars, and whatever. I've got some wipes in here, baby wipes for doing different techniques. If you do mixed media, you know what all this stuff is for. And then I've got texture tools, so sponges, corrugated papers, just different things like that, jar lids or bottle lids. Here I've got our painting mediums, texture paste, homemade decoupage glue, homemade gesso, just clear gesso, all kinds of painting mediums. So I know where to get my painting mediums. And these are different kinds of paints that I don't use very often. I've got like glass paints, and then I've got some water mixable oils. So those are all in this bin because I don't need to get at it very often. The only other thing, well, let's see, there's some tapes and clamps in this box, feathers, in that box. Just some labels. I find labeling things makes my life easier. I love it because I know where to get stuff, and when Terry comes down here and he wants to find things, or if a neighborhood kid comes over or something that sometimes does, then I just say just look at the labels. And this one has all my inks in it. I think the label's on the other side of the box or it fell off, but anyways, my inks are all in this bin. Another Walmart bin. And that is it for this cart. This is my encaustic station. So we'll start with the exhaust hood here. Terry set this all up. You can see the pipe going from the top all the way out to the window, so it exhausts any fumes from the encaustic out, so I'm kept safe because he loves me. He's so cool. This also has a light, so there's the light. This is a fan. You can hear it going in a second here. And that's exhausting right outside. Very nice. Down on the bench here is, now I got this at a thrift store. It's a warming tray. You might recognize it from some buffets you've been to and stuff. So in each warming tray, I've got encaustic medium, white encaustic paint, and the last one is for paraffin wax to clean my brushes. And this is mainly right here is my work surface. I've got one piece that I've been working on that I need to finish. And I just keep the papers on there to keep it from getting dirt and dust. This is my other tray that I use as a palette, so I'll put the paint actually right on here and mix it if I need to mix it. In the front, this is another thing that Terry did, is he mounted this power bar to the front so I can plug in all my different electrical tools that I need for doing the encaustic. Encaustic is basically wax, so you need to heat it in order to paint with it. Down here, I've got some painting boards, buffing cloths, I've got some parchment paper, and then I've got large boards in this big bin. So someday if I ever do some large pieces, mostly I do small ones, but if I ever decide to do a large one, the boards are in here. Next I have this neat little cart that my son got for me for Christmas. Okay, so we'll start with the bottom of the cart. I've got some little tin pie things here for making encaustic paint. Got some metallic flakes for just making it fancy. In here I've got my encaustic card. So encaustic card, it's like a shiny heat resistant paper that you can do paintings on, like this one. So that's what's on the bottom shelf. It's great for moving around. The middle shelf has got my encaustic paints. So I just have them in a little bin here. This is one of the encaustic paints I made myself. And how I did that is I took encaustic medium and I melted it with Winsor & Newton white oil color. And that's how I made my white encaustic paint. I've got oil pastels that I can use in it. My R&F oil sticks that I got for Christmas. And this is some more encaustic medium. I've got quite a few bars of that. And vinyl gloves for doing the oil sticks and so forth because it gets pretty messy. And let's go to the top shelf. On the top shelf, I've got some paper towels. I've got my styluses. Got 2 of those, and these are different nibs or tips for the styluses. So there's all different ones, different shapes. There's letters. And then I have to use these little pliers to get the tips on and off. That's all on my top shelf. This is my heat gun. Heat resistant sponges. My encaustic iron. My torch. I've got some mark making tools here. Another mark making tool. Actually, it's a rubber stamp. And then my paint brushes. And this is a silicone mark making tool. Paint brushes are really stiff, but as soon as I heat it up, the wax that's in there will melt and I'll be able to paint with it. And that's it for my encaustic station. So just in case you were thinking, oh, aren't you lucky you have a dedicated studio? We do, but we also share the laundry room. We share our recycle bins. And our workout area, which is our treadmill. We've been very thankful to have this since the lockdown with the COVID-19 because we can keep in shape. We also have some household storage, our furnace, and our hot water tank. And this brings us over to Terry's dedicated space. There he is. Hi, Terry.
Hi, sweetheart.
Do you want to show us what you do over here besides look really cute?
I've lost what I'm going to say now. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. That's all right.
All right.
Okay, this is my workstation here. I share one with Teresa, but on this one here, this is kind of a layout area. I put all my stuff in. This is one of the wood projects I'm working on. God kind of showed me this last year. Get a hold of a local private lumberyard in town, close to us, and he gave me the cutoffs of all the wood that he has from making the square 2x4s or whatever, and then these are the cutoffs from the logs. And so I got a hold of these one day, and I just sat and cut them off and started putting them together, and I come up with one design like this, like a flower. So eventually I'm gonna mount that onto a board. Probably not this one because I got paint and stuff on it, but similar to this is what I plan to do. And there's more to it, but this is just kind of in the rough stages right now, like a lot of art pieces are. And then in here I just got some tools in this drawer. This is a former computer table, computer desk, so kind of putting it to work. And some of the tools I use here. My notepad, and as you can see, it's not that tidy, but just some of the stuff I use, some of the tools. Math compass set, notepad. Little project I did, an art challenge we have with Matt Tommy. Put that together quickly. Just something simple, a few items, and that's what I came up with. Power bar here, plugging in all my hot glue guns, ribbons, and tools that I use for making some of the wood ornaments that I also make now. And the wood that I use is the wood that I managed to find through the Hurricane Dorian. And God put the ash tree on my heart. And so a lot of the wood ornaments, or all the wood ornaments, are made out of ash wood. And these are some of the rough stages of them. This is one here. Still has to be clear finish on it. A couple coats, sanding in between. And then if you pan up here, you can see this is what they're going to end up looking like. This here, this is kind of a half one. To the back of it, this is the mount on a wall or someplace else. Here's the one that hasn't had the glitter glue put on yet. They're usually around like that. And I guess they'll put the glitter glue in that one. And here's another one here I'm experimenting with. And this one will be able to sit right on the countertop or a fireplace mantle or a tabletop, whatever. And then this big one here is a prototype. I did one for a friend. It's a commission job. And she hung hers outside, so we're going to see how that works. And I'm planning to put this one outside too, but hers is sitting out part of the winter, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see shortly. And then on the other table here, as you pan over, in these drawers here, I have my soap carving, soap blocks, candles for doing some other candle work, and I got model clay for doing some sculpting or clay work. And then beside that, on top of there, some more wood pieces. I'm experimenting with color paint onto the ash wood. And I got my clay and sculpting tools there, wood carving. And then to the left of that, oh, I'm sorry, down here, this is another wood art I'm working on. God just kind of downloaded this to me one day. And again, I took the ash wood cut off from the lumber mill. And yeah, this is kind of a God thing. It just all came together. It's sort of like a water lily. It's not finished yet. I got loose pieces in there, and these are still loose here. But I plan to get that done, and I'm going to glue it to a piece of wood like this. And I plan to paint this, but not those pieces. You can see way at the top, there's a dragonfly here that I created all the wood too. Just glue the knots onto the little piece here. And up here are frog eggs. Again, he's ready to zap that dragonfly for lunch. And over here, paints in the back. Teresa can tell you more about those paints than I can right now. I'll let her.
We made those with Brush-O's and waters. Brush-O's are intense watercolor pigment powders. We tried using the RIT dye to make the paints, and the pigment was just not great. The Brush-O's pigments are very vibrant.
And if you want to pan down here, here's some of the test pieces I've been doing to test out the wood to see how it's going to look when I'm using different color paints that Teresa just mentioned. I'm still working on that, but eventually I'm going to be painting the backboard with these colors as soon as I come up with a technique and the color I'm happy with. And these are just a couple of the paintings I'm working on. This one I just did here the other night. Still not finished, but it's work in progress. And then the next one to it is one I did, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a golden eye in the center there. I did this at what we call our burning night, where we just had worship music going for 2 hours, and I just started painting, and this is what came to me that night. And down to the bottom here, a lot of the just tools I use, some more stuff, some extra pieces for the Christmas ornaments. These are the wood slices that I use. These are some pieces that didn't cut quite right. They're too thin or too thick, but I really felt God said don't throw them away. There's going to be a use for them. Again, the ash from the ash tree again, and these are some small pieces again for the smaller ornaments I plan to make in the near future here. And these are just some more of my watercolors paint. Up top here is some more glitter glue and ribbons that I use for the Christmas ornaments. And then down on the bottom here, oh, what's that? These are all the pieces that I pre-cut for the Christmas ornaments. These are the half slices. And I take about 6 of these and I glue them to a stick from the ashwood tree also. They're all been sanded down and cut in halves, and then I glue them all together. That's kind of what they look like in their rough stage. That's the medium size, that's the large size ones there. And then here are the small ones. They're still full circles, but they need to be sanded down and cut in halves. And then be glued to a stick. And then you have the small Christmas orders like we showed you earlier. And below that one, the next size up. These two need to be sanded down and then cut in half and then glued to the stick. And then these are the sticks over here. This is some of them. I have a whole bunch more in the garage. So I just brought these in, but I need a specific diameter of stick to work for this. So some of these are good and some are not, but I'm still hanging on to everything that came from that tree. I harvest the whole tree. And I think that's about it. Hi, you're on again. This is my drawing station here. This is where I do all my drawing and sketchings. On the far side here, I got various erasers, mechanical. This one here is a battery operated one. It spins. Cool. I love this one. It's really good for getting into tight spaces. And then I have my knee eraser in here too. And that's great. And up here a little further, a little paintbrush to brush off the rubber from the erasing. And here's a pencil sharpener. Here's a special sharpener here. This one here is for sharpening my mechanical pencils. They have a thicker lead than your normal ones. They're 2 mils. And they need special sharpening. But I love these pencils. I have numerous ones here for different densities of lead. This is a 2H, an HB, and an H, and then you got the 4B and a 2B, and then the white here. And I use those for various things when I'm drawing, for different blending or different densities of graphite needed for the drawings I do. And then further up, just some other various tools. Some of the stuff to help motivate me, to keep me going here. As you can see, in some instructions. Back on the back of the green board there, you'll see it's kind of my vision board. Something we picked up from Matt Tommy's Thriving Christian Artist. To help motivate me, and it really works for me. And then you've come back down to the desk again. It's a drawing I'm working on at the moment. Just the Lord just put on my heart to draw eyes, really big eyes with reflections in them. So I'm working on that. It's the first time I've done it, so we'll see how it goes. Now you notice on the desk I got this material here because this table's on an angle. So every time I put something down, it rolls away. So I can take this here, or it slides. If I put this on here, it has a tendency to slide. If I put it there, it stays put. So I got that all over my desk. Right here, this is where I put my laptop. And I keep my mechanical pencils there. And then down below that, I got 2 drawers here with some various tools and supplies I need to preserve the graphite, just some tape and batteries and some extra erasers. The other side is sketchbooks I've already filled up, and spare leads for my mechanical pencils over there. And then off to the left is my sketch pad, some worksheets I'm working on, and a wooden mannequin. Help me to draw full figures. And then just up to the left is my whiteboard I use for planning. Keep me on track with some of the projects we're working on, and I need to get it up to date, but that's what I use to keep me focused.
And it wouldn't be a complete video if we didn't show you some of our support staff. This is Placette. You might hear her purring. She's 16 years old. Hey, stay in the camera, honey. Yeah, I know. What are you doing? She's a very sweet kitten. And we also have over here Sebastian. Let's see if we can show you his nice blue eyes. This is Sebastian. This is our grand kitty. It's our son's cat. So thank you for coming along for our studio tour. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Terry.
And we are T&T Artspirations. Bye. Hi there, I'm Teresa Arsenault. Okay, you just messed that up. Hi, I'm Teresa Arsenault.
And I'm Terry Arsenault.
And we're
not on the camera. Okay, I've got to flip the camera around.
okay. That's why I said you should be closer so you can just.
Hi, everybody. This is my drawing station where I do all my sketches. Hi, everybody. Hi, sweetheart. You're so cute holding that camera.